Ring, 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 hello, pimps and vegans, and welcome back
Pimps and vegans? We're all about to be dead. What are you talking about, pimps?
Silence, I'm talking. And welcome to the Krown's magical Doom Cave.
We're back in the nuclear fallout cave right now as we get... Sorry, don't mean to be scaring anyone right now, but hey, shit's about to get fucking real, huh? Anyways, we got plenty to talk about today because it is the end of the month, and of course there's a whole lot of shit going on in the world right now, of which I'm certainly not qualified to comment on that, so understand that when you come here, you're coming here for a silly goose time. Nothing that I say about the geopolitical situation is serious or intended to be taken as such. Anyways, with that in mind, I want to be wishing everyone a happy and healthy start to this nice Monday morning over here from Helsinki, Finland. It ain't wintry and it ain't snowy right now. It's actually quite nice outside and the snow is melted. And Elsa says it doesn't matter because we're all about to be dead. Anyways, I have a little bit more of an optimistic look on that because, well, you know what? If we're all going to be dead, at least we can all go to some crypto cave heaven in the skies above and live together with... Well, we're going to live together, and who knows how the fuck that ends up. Anyways, I see a lot of beautiful comments going on right here. I see a lot of people in the house right now as well. 660 people watching. We're almost at 666, which is perfect for today, and 179 likes on the video as well. I want to say good morning to you, and massive thank you for that. That is very generous, as we do get ready for another, I do suspect another big week right here. A lot of things kind of pivoted on the higher term timeframes, and that's going to be clarified as of tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time as we do get the monthly closure, which is really going to, of course, edge in the next major biases for the next, especially March and perhaps the few months after that, depending upon what happens tonight. So with that in mind, we're going to be going over the validation and invalidation conditions for such scenarios and what they very likely mean for the next couple months to come. And we'll even go over all the short-term timeframes as well, of which Bitcoin getting yet another rejection at the 39,550-ish region, the same area that we've been looking at for the past few days here. As long as Bitcoin's below there, hard to be bullish, and as long as Bitcoin's above 36,500, hard to be super bearish as well, although there certainly are many things starting to line up with each other, and the result of it is likely to be catastrophic for one side of this market coming into probably to this next month of March. Anyways, if Jordan Kusi says, wow, is this live? Actually, it is, man. If you go on your YouTube, it literally says live right there. But you know what, man, good morning to you. I just had a couple cups of coffee, so I got all the kids off out at the pool, and it's all well and good right now. I see Joseph Valkoff. Good morning to you, man. Uncle D, he says, Daddy, hello, son. Yes, I finally have a kid before we all gonna die, and this is beautiful, man. This is great. I hope that you're doing well. Didn't give you any support as a child, but it's all good, man. I see Capo Tico. Good morning to you, man. Big boy George, there he is. Filson, yes, what's up? Make love, not war, indeed, man. Drop acid, not bombs. And sorry, shouldn't have said that on the interwebs. And what's up, Mr. Sidhu? Good morning to you as well. I see Elsa69 here. Hey, Jack Asman, what's up? What's up, brother? Gabor, good morning to you as well, sir. Matador MC, a nice and actually very familiar name right there. Gorilla Quipser, what's up, man? Indeed it is. Indeed it is. Ben Stace, John Dude, Danny Reyes, Frig Diggler, Hoax. Oh, God, he said the magical words. Fuck, bro, there he is. Indeed, my friend. Indeed. All right, cool. And Crypto the Kid, what's up? What's up, everyone? All right, sweet. Well, I suppose that we should probably get into the content of the day now. Just want to make sure that I got everything set up over here. Okay, we got short-term timeframes, we got the monthly, we got momentum, and we got the long-term right there. Oh, and also we are closing a bi-monthly today. So let me take a sip of this water, and we're actually going to record this one. I'll upload it a little bit later for the people who just want to, watch a very quick or relatively quick analysis on Bitcoin, and then we'll get on with our very merry day. And holy moly, man, 315 likes on the video already, and almost 1,000 people watching. It was a rather quiet morning, and there's all sorts of news channels. I've been doom scrolling. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed of this, but I've been doom scrolling on Twitter and YouTube, just looking at all of the stories and whatnot coming out. It is a rather interesting situation. So again, I understand that things are not necessarily black or white for either side, but I would like to, of course, support people who are, dealing with some actual serious situations in a more sincere tone, obviously. So that's why I kind of put out yesterday's message with a couple of crypto addresses to donate to the people of Ukraine if you so desire. Of course, don't have to do it, especially if you're not in a position to do it as well. It's all well and good, but I just got a lot of hateful messages for that, and just understand where I'm coming from. I'm not making a value judgment on either side. I think it's quite clear when one side starts to escalate towards potential nuclear warfare. I think that makes things a little bit more clarified as to where we kind of stand, but at the same time, as always, I do understand that I'm not an expert in that realm. I'm not qualified to speak on it. But of course, I do understand pain and suffering. And I understand that we in the Western world are absolutely just blessed to have not really to have dealt with any sort of a major situation like this really in our life thus far. So I guess time's up. And now we all have to deal with the realities of our current reality, for lack of a better phrase there. Anyways, let me just slip this on up. Oh my God, and Bitcoin's pumping a whole $400. That's amazing. Actually, let's go see where it is right now. Hey, not bad right there, but still has a little bit of work to do. Okay. Oh, yeah, actually zoomed in the camera maybe a little bit too much. I can fix that for you. Whoops, other way. There we go. Now you should be able to see the wave. Do you want to wave? Would you like to wave? All right, well, fuck off because okay, there you go. It looks like a flipper. Looks like you look like a dolphin. All right, here we have Bitcoin, of course, starting off with the Krown trading application today, as the open interest on the global scale is going to be a major focus for this next month of likely March, or not likely, but definitely March to come. That is one thing that I'm very confident about. However, the rest of this video is going to be laying out major validation conditions for the higher term timeframes in order to have a major bias on what to expect essentially in March and potentially April and whatever month is after that one as well. Anyways, as you can see over here on the global open interest interest scale, we do see that it is actually taking a nice leg down below that $10 billion marker. So I actually do have a couple of more alerts over here at some major extremes, as 10 billion is not going to be the area that I believe most people are kind of looking at it as. That's going to be the 9 billion and 8 billion region. Specifically, I want to see actually about 8.5 billion. So I actually don't think that I can do decimals on this particular alert. By the way, you can set this up for yourself as well if you so desire, but I do want to essentially be notified when Bitcoin is at these next major extremes, kind of similar to what we saw over the summer and early Q4 of 2021. Anyways, with that in mind, I do still look for the global open interest to continue to unravel here, and that doesn't necessarily have a implication as to whether price action goes up or down. In this case, we could very easily see, or it's not that we could very easily see, but if we saw, this would be a very, very pertinent signal, meaning that open interest coming down, which I do believe it will come down further from here, and then if let's say price action were to go up, specifically above about 39,550, the same area that we've been looking at for the past few days here, as a major validation condition for upside continuation, then I would look at that as a really big change in the market underlying dynamics. Until then, if we do see the open interest continue to come down alongside price action, that would be suggestive that this market is still washing out some over leveraged longs, I do suspect. Anyways, with that in mind, funny rates do suggest that the market is a little bit more on the short side, or more aggressively on the short side, I should say, as that does represent market positions. And in this case, if we go to the hourly rates, by the way, which you can get with the premium features, which I do have because this is my fucking app, we do see that it is the highest level, or sorry, not the highest level, but the lowest level, the lowest negative levels that we have seen in at least a couple weeks here, going back to the 23rd of February, of course. So right now it is negative, hey, stop that, negative 0.012%. So that does mean that short positions are paying to hold their positions. Now, of course, when shorts or bears are essentially in control and all time frame trends are to the downside, it's not a major concern. However, if we do match this with price action, we do see a move again specifically above that 39,550-ish region, then I would be looking at that as a major continuation signal, as there's going to be a nice little short covering party after that to follow. On top of that, we do see that the fear and green index is also at a 26 read right now. And I should probably take this moment to let you know that the premium features on the Krown trading app are live. You can learn more about them over here. But right now, we have some very important things to be getting on into in the charts themselves. So I want to follow up now on the short-term time frame analysis, as we did see our pullback hit both of our targets, that being at the $38,000 level right here, the 382, and then we did see that continuation drive to the 618. In this case, I do consider this a test towards the 618, which is in the mid 36s, and so far it has held up. Now, does this look like it's super strong price action right here? Constructing a major low as of right now? No, it does not. And ultimately, I do have this same sort of short-term time frame analysis that I had on the last few, on the last, like, I guess, almost a week now as before, in the sense that, look, as long as Bitcoin's below 39,550, there is no major threat of any sort of upside continuation move on a full hour closing basis. Very specific right there. You'll notice yesterday Bitcoin actually closed very, very close to that region, which is why I did actually make a little bit more of an effort to be more specific with the numbers, simply because, well, I suspected that something like that could happen. And we did see a closure right at 39,500, but in this case, that is why I was very, 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 very deliberately clear with it at 39,550, of which we did not see a single exchange, or at least any of the ones that I track, close above that region, that being BitMEX, Bybit, Coinbase, Bitfinex, and Bitstamp. So until that does happen, I don't really have any reason to be looking at this as a major low, with targets up to about 41,500 and probably more over time as well. But for right now, there is something a little bit more pertinent to our current position on price action, which is a downside resolution below 36,500 or so on a 4 hour closure. If Bitcoin does take out the 618 on a closing basis, even on a 4 hour basis, I would prefer to use a higher term time frame, simply because it is, it is kind of like a big implication right here. I would be looking at another run towards our current lows from February, that being at just below $35,000, probably another bounce there, and then very likely continuation to the macro cycle, or I wouldn't say macro cycle lows, but macro range lows, which is in the $29,000 to $31,000 area. Anyways, in this case right here, I need to see that validated in order for me to look at that as a nice clean and clear breakdown. First with targets towards this blue box, very likely a bounce there, and then probably sets it up for continuation a little bit later. Anyways, going into our momentum oscillators over here, they certainly are a little bit more on the bearish side, but I should reference CME on a day like today, and I would say that it is also on the bearish side as well. We did see Bitcoin volatility actually coming down off of extremes right here on the short-term timeframes, so I'm looking at this next move as, you know, potentially a corrective move, but what would be very concerning is if we see volatility reset, you know, coming back down, especially below 25 percentile, and lower is better, and then expand alongside an actual break to the downside. That would be pretty damning, so to speak. But ultimately, you know, I suspect that today's price action is probably gonna be run off of some sort of news stories with regard to the geopolitical situation, which again I'm not qualified to comment on. Anyways, if we go over to our stochastic momentum over here, you will notice on the shorter term timeframes to align with this. And again, we're gonna get into the higher term timeframe soon enough. Sir, we're not right now. Anyways, we do see 4-hour stochastic momentum turning to the downside as long as Bitcoin is below 38,700 or so, and it is kind of playing out a trend line here as well. So I should denote that. And on top of that, I imagine all of the other lower term timeframes are on the same side. Yes, SPY hourly is down, and hourly is also down as well, but will be flippy floppy here, but it is an hourly after all. 6-hour and 12-hour are also freshly turning, as you can see right here. 6-hour will turn down below 38,600. 12-hour will also turn down below about actually 35,700, so not anytime soon. And the daily, very specifically over here on CME, will turn back up above 39,150. So I would say that it you know, if I am going to be the most aggressive as I can be with potentially calling a major reversal to the upside at the soonest, which I think does carry a bit more of an enhanced risk with it, then I would be looking for a daily closure today on CME, specifically above 39,150. Juxtapose that against what we see on spot price action over here, and things become a lot more clear. Any sort of a daily closure below 35,650 on spot price action, 7 p.m. Eastern time, we will see daily stochastic momentum turn back down. This would also be a rejection of getting out of the bearish control zone, thus bears still remaining in control on the daily. Trend would obviously be down, and we would naturally see that level that we spoke about right here on the 618 at 36,500 met as well. So these conditions would not just be a range break and a continuation move, but also daily momentum turning against it as well, which would be pretty fucking damning, at least in my opinion, for Bitcoin BULA. So that's kind of what's at stake in the next 24 hours. And then the big things are going to obviously be on the monthly time frame, of which I'll start off with a little bit of hopium right here, and then I'm going to bring it around and just absolutely fucking destroy you with some doomium. So apologies for that in advance, but let's just get ready for this. Perhaps let's just get ready for this. Anyways, the hopium is that the accumulation distribution indicator over here, which essentially has called all of the macro shifts in direction on Bitcoin, I wouldn't say perfectly, but has gotten them to a good enough degree where I think that it truly matters, is actually losing its downside slope. And I really only care about the slope changes in these extreme levels right here. Yes, you can draw some regressions around this, you know, fair enough. But I've also highlighted with these blue vertical bars right here where those shift chains have been. And you can see on a macro scale, it's been incredibly fucking good, both to the upside and the downside. One of the few indicators that even told you that March 2020 of 2 years ago was going to be absolutely fucking devastating. Anyways, with that in mind, we do see that coming into the month of February, the slope to the downside has been drastically reduced. Obviously, that is not the same thing as a positive slope, but it does suggest that the downside is waning. Well, in its severity. But here's the thing: if we come into March and this still has a downside slope, well, it's just historically not very responsible to be calling for a reversal to the upside. And on top of that, we've not really seen these reversals without first getting into the red zone right here. So a little bit of doomium with your hopium as well. And that would probably align with, you know, another tick, maybe two of coming down somewhere around here. And then if it is going to flip to the upside, probably do see that. But that would be, I suppose, April at earliest, and more likely May, if that is going to happen to begin with. On top of that, we should identify this over here, or sorry, first over here, we'll look at monthly stochastic momentum. This is also a bit of a problem for the BULAs as well, as we do see that it is certainly it's already turned down coming into the month of February, but now it will officially lose the bullish control zone right here for the first time since September 2020, actually. with any sort of closure today below 54,330 or so. So that's pretty far away from current price action. Not looking too damn good on that one. And I've also marked off with these green vertical lines right here all of the times in history where we have actually lost and rejected the bullish control zone on monthly stochastic momentum. And there's only been twice in the history before, similar to what we're looking at right now. I mean, you can maybe argue that this one was one right here as well, but still the effect was rather devastating. And you can see that they were essentially bull traps on the last pair of cycles. To take that one step further, if we go over here, and this is really what I kind of hinged the majority of this analysis on, and this is really the big one for me, and this is the one that if met, I'm going to be pretty fucking bearish coming into probably later March, April-ish region, would be the monthly right here. The monthly MACD has already crossed the downside for the fourth time in history. This happened in January to February, and we have seen the result of this particular signal 3 times in the history of Bitcoin, all of which you can verify yourself by these green vertical bars right here, all of which have been astronomically downside moves, always coming down to the green 55 exponential average. Doesn't mean it's always going to happen like that, but historically speaking, has been incredibly relevant in this case. Again, just going over the statistics and whatnot of this, and then you can make your decisions for yourself, obviously. I mean, I'm not here to be your dad. I'm just here to show the charts and the way I'm looking at them, and then obviously you as a rational adult, or hopefully a rational adult, can make the decision for yourself, the right decision for yourself, if you will. Anyways, on top of that, this signal needs to be combined with the next portion of it, which is the white 20 simple, as you can see on the charts right here. And anytime that we've seen that monthly MACD cross to the downside plus a simultaneous loss of the 20 simple at some point after that, while monthly momentum is to the downside, that has made the signal more, I suppose, what's the word that I'm looking for? Not aggressive, but more time relevant, meaning that as soon as you lose that white 20 simple, for example, right here, that's when price action really started to accelerate to the downside. You can see it's been another 3 months kind of oscillating around after that first major break below, and then finds its lows around the 55, which takes like a year from there, basically. You know, it's not like these things happen overnight, or at least in that instance, nor this instance right here, where you do see it in, of course, May, June of 2018. We get the monthly MACD cross the downside, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the 4th month right here, closes just ever so slightly below the 20 simple. The next month, the next 2 months, Bitcoin finds its lows after about a more than 50% dump-ola, and then over the next 4 to 6 months, Bitcoin does recover a bit and puts in a nice rally off the 3,100 lows all the way to $14,000. And then of course we have this one over here coming into again March 2020 dump. Told you a month and a half before then, and as you can see, this one closed below the 20 simple, and at the same time did already test the green 55 as well. So it's not like that one happened rather fast, being that it was a rather critical situation. Could that be applicable to what we're looking at right now? Honestly, maybe yes. Maybe yes, in the event of like something truly spectacularly awful going on in the world. Again, I'm not qualified to speak on these situations, but I do have some eyes, and my eyes have shown me this morning. I was reading a White House something official from the government in the White House that was basically like what to do in the event of a nuclear explosion going off. And look, you have to have a fucking sense of humor about this, but honestly, the instructions of what to do in the event of a nuclear war were painfully similar to what was instructed off of fucking Rona. For example, they do suggest that you socially distance. I'm not fucking joking, by the way. This is real. I'm not fucking joking. They suggest that you socially distance 6 feet away, and then also wear a mask, and then also stay inside. It's like, we've been preparing for this for the last 2 years, and now it's really a big deal. Anyways, instructions don't die, as Fulson says. Yeah, man, that would be ideal. Although, good luck with that, man. If something truly awful like that does happen. Anyways, as you can see right here, and to bring this one first full circle, we do see that obviously the monthly MACD has crossed to the downside. So, what's the next big puzzle piece for me to be looking for in order for this to become a somewhat, or I guess, a reasonable likelihood of happening, or at least 100% in the past? Doesn't mean it's always going to be like that, obviously, but the statistics are quite good, I would say. Would be a closure below the white 20 simple on the on the monthly here, which is currently situated at 36,840 on the index. And if we go over to Bitstamp, it's the same thing. So I'm going to run with that one. In this case, however, I would say that there's a degree of error, of course, around that region. I wouldn't say like if it literally closes $1 below, then it must, it must come down. I really want to see it close like, let's say, below about 36,000 on the monthly, or 36,500. But you'll notice that naturally lines up with even the short-term time frame resolution right here to the downside. So all of these things obviously play and feed into each other. And as we do come into the end of the monthly here, that would be, well, more and more relevant, obviously. So so that I do believe is worth watching on even a short-term time frame on a day like today. Again, the closure for the monthly happening a little bit later tonight. I also want to talk about hopium to the upside. Well, it's not necessarily hopium to the upside. It's just, the upside validation conditions are the exact same exact same things as before. 39,550 on a 4-hour closure, nothing less. At that point, I do look for Bitcoin to make a move up somewhere around the 618 bearish tracement right here, which would be 41,500. Above there on a medium or higher term time frame closure, I would also feel comfortable likely calling an early reversal from this, from this major low, and probably targets up towards, mid to low $50,000 in the next couple months. So that's kind of what's at stake in the next 24 hours here. We've been talking about this. We've been preparing about this for a long time now on this channel in the last couple of weeks. Now we're about to get clarity on the situation, in less than 24 hours. And actually to be exact, on spot price action, about 17 hours, 27 minutes, and 26 seconds. So that's what I'll be waiting for tonight. I'll actually have an alarm just so that I can see it myself, because decisions very likely need to be made after that. But other than that, I want to wish everyone a nice and safe Monday. In a more sincere tone, I know that things are kind of crazy in the world right now. I don't know what to say about that, but I do know to say that, hey, just do what you can, and let the chips fall where they may, and just make as best as possible with that. Okay, hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully all those validations and invalidations made sense in that nice long 15-minute ramble. And there you go. Nice one, man. Okay, cool. What is going on over there? Okay, if nuke event, everyone here will die. No survivors, and defo no moon bags. Yeah, it's actually like incredibly infuriating. It's not infuriating, but it is insufferable when I look at like Twitter and people are talking about how any sort of a war would benefit their fucking stupid ass Bitcoin bags, let alone their goddamn altcoin shitcoin bags. It's absolutely just inexcusably disgusting, to be quite honest with you. And it's so funny to me that that people would cheer something like this on because they think that it would actually help them, when they just simply haven't done the research to know that, look, if anything truly like that went on, even in this current situation where Russia's kind of cut off from Swift, there's going to be a lot of pain in the world. And it ain't just going to be for fucking Russia. It's going to be for Europe and just basically everyone else as well. I mean, these things have ripple effects. These economies are so intertwined with each other that unraveling one is going to affect all, basically. That is what I do know, and that is something that you might be thinking that that's going to benefit your Bitcoin bags or whatever altcoin shitcoin you might be holding. It might, but the world is going to be so shitty at that point that you're probably not going to care about that to begin with. So there you go. Yeah, man, crypto people have become absolutely unbearable on Twitter. Absolutely, Mr. Rockji. I mean, I saw this one big account. This guy, he's either got to be a parody account or he's just so fucking off base that it's I wouldn't say that he needs to be deplatformed. I don't believe in that, but goddamn, man, it's like I would hope people would realize that he's just out of his fucking mind. That would be Max Kaiser, man, just fucking disgusting. He went on a Twitter deleting spree simply because he had so many just terrible takes about this situation going on right now, like calling it fake, calling it stupid, calling it like it's going to be good for Bitcoin. It's like, no, dude, no, and stop. And was it last year or the year before that, whatever it was, man, it was just insufferable to watch, insufferable to watch. So this is the problem with a lot of Bitcoiners, at least in my opinion, because like libertarians essentially can be conflated with just being selfish, and that's just we just don't realize that we're all connected in some tangential way, and it's very, very important to understand that a rising tide lifts all ships, and unfortunately we're getting a little bit of a lowering tide right now. Anyways, I'm gonna get on to the comments over here. Elsie, you can. Is there a nuke going? Oh, is there a nuke coin? Probably not. I think you're being trolled, sir. But anyways, I'll get on over to some of the comments over here. Apologies for the rambling nonsense right there. Who knows how much of that actually made sense? I see. Ohm says 45-minute red candle closing in 10 minutes. I'm very concerned about the 45 minutes. I mean, let's see. What could I seriously could not care about the care less about the color of this candle, man. I ain't a candle fucking racist. I'm a dildo racist, and I fucking hate the purple ones. That's for sure. No, man, just kidding. At the end of the day, we are. Oh, I should probably delete the shit gif that I sent Elsa. She's. I send Elsa the rhino shit gif during the overnight session, and so when she wakes up, she's greeted like that. It's really nice. Anyways, Paul Gret is first, says, did you create a wrench or vagabond? A hero, sir. Big swords only, baby. And I got the grafted sword, whatever the hell it is, man. I'm gonna be actually streaming that later today, man. If the world's gonna end, I really want to at least get halfway through Elden Ring, because that'd be a win. Anyways, MATIC on the weekly and monthly. Okay, yeah, let's check this one out. You know, here's the thing with all of the altcoins today that we're gonna very likely look at. If Bitcoin initiates its long-term up or down signals, they're just going to follow with it. Is essentially what's going to happen here. But if we're just looking at Polygon, MATIC, actually not super terrible right here. Should record a video on this one or not? Sure, might as well record a video on this one. Here we have Polygon symbol MATIC versus the dollar, and a tale of two timeframes going on right now. However, I will start with the daily in this case, and we can very obviously see that it is within the context of a nice daily downtrend, and will be within the context of a daily downtrend, specifically as long as below about 160. I don't see any major threat of a bottom forming right here. With that in mind, however, it doesn't mean that it can't happen, but that would be my validation condition for looking at this one as likely putting in not just a daily major low, but also a weekly major low as well, as we would have natural hidden bullish evidence right here as weekly RSI makes significantly lower lows than even July of 2021. So that would be the summer lows from last year. And that probably does have, major targets back up into the low $2, probably mid $2 over the next couple months if that were to happen. But for right now, make no mistake about it. The trend is to the downside on all time frames. We've had another drive of hidden bearish evidence right there. It is a phantom drive, so I don't know. I don't think that one's like super powerful in this particular instance, especially with volatility declining on a time frame like this. But that would be my validation condition for declaring this as a nice local low. Short-term targets up to 175, then weekly over the next few weeks, maybe up to like a month and a half. I'd be looking for that move up into the shallow $2 region. Anyways, until then, what would I declare as continuation in this case with major targets? I suppose to the downside. I suppose new lows on this run would be with a daily closure below 140 specifically. Below 140, I do look for this one to retrace its full wick from the 24th of February and find another move down to about 1.25 to 120 or so in the following week or two. Looking at a monthly right here. Not really much, not necessarily enough history to really be going off of. If I had to split hairs, I would say you are very likely going to create bearish divergence right here. And that does have a target down to the low $1 region, but I don't think that this has enough history right here for me to really feel confident with giving it like a real analysis. I think highest time frame I'd go on something like this is a weekly in this case. So at the end of the day, the 5-day time frame I think gets things rather well on this one. We can also go look at stochastic momentum as well and see if that has natural confluences with where we're at. It should, hopefully. That would make things a lot easier. And yeah, daily closing below 133 actually would turn momentum back onto the downside and hold things within the bearish control zone, which would obviously be pretty damn bad for the BULAs. Until then, I suppose it does remain to the upside, so BULAs have a little bit of a short-term chance here. But again, very specifically need to see this one either close a daily above 159.5 or a full hour ever so slightly above there. I'd say 161.5. One of those two conditions would actually do it for me with calling a nice reversal off these regions, and then ultimately targets into maybe later March in the shallow $2 regions. Anyways, hopefully that was helpful, and there you go for Polygon MATIC, sir. Ricky O says AVAX USD, please, sir. 4-hour daily weekly. Sure, man. Sure. Okay, let's see what we got going on over here. Let's see. Okay, old line still working, I guess, right there. But let's actually do this for the timeframes that you are requesting, daily and weekly. Let's see where we're at right here. Yeah, very similar to the last chart that we did see. This one a little bit more relatively strong, I suspect. But if we do see a nice dump off, I'm basically looking down towards a little bit lower than last week's low. Let's actually record this one as well. This is a nice and technical chart right here. Here we have avalanche symbol AVAX versus the dollar, and we have a pretty simplistic chart right here. Obviously, it is within the context of a bit of a downtrend on pretty much most timeframes that matter. But I would like to overlay some validation conditions for a major reversal in this case. Doesn't mean that's going to happen, but if this were to happen, I would say that I'd be looking for big moves up past $100 again, and that would be specifically with a daily closure above about 84.85. If we're on a 4-hour time frame, I would you probably could use the same area here as well. $85 basically would be a nice reversal. Until then, if things do dump off this week, I would be looking somewhere down around just below $60 in this case. I would be looking for likely another short-term bounce right there and then come back to it after that. I would not really want to make any more long-term analysis on it, but that's where I'd essentially be looking for on a quick nuke to the down. Bad terminology to be using on a day like today, but a quick move to the downside perhaps. If we go over here and check out stochastic momentum, I imagine it's probably going to be overlaid at those same regions. Let's go to the daily first, and the daily will turn down today at 7 p.m. Eastern time with any sort of a closure below 71.59. So as of right now, okay in that regard. If we go down to a 4-hour, I'm not really getting anything from price action right here. Obviously, it is angled towards the downside, but I'm not seeing anything super obvious except for volatility rising alongside another downside continuation drive here. But other than that, I really don't have any major analysis to be made on it. 5 days, the same thing as the weekly. Somewhere around about $60 or so is kind of where I'd be looking for if things do dump off intraday here, based off of some sort of news, if you will, the old news. And then the short-term timeframes, they will actually start to flip back up on momentum above about 80 and a quarter. So that is rather far away right now. And the weekly is actually freshly turning up above 64.4. But ultimately, I just look at this as a range play right here. Heavily, how should I use my terminology here? Heavily concerning as long as below about $85. It does remain more angled to the downside, but that is where things do start to change around. I would be looking for another move up to about $100 even. And from there, I probably would be looking for a pullback plus continuation, maybe late March or something if it were to happen, into the shallow 120s or so. Anyways, hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Avalanche, sir. Nice one, man. Lucid Ruler X says, greetings, dudes. Hello, sir. What do you think about the subterranean city Helsinki built to hold 700,000 people during the Cold War? Wait, did they do that? Oh, that's amazing, man. We're in the best place then. Holy shit, we're not leaving. This is amazing. It's all good. Also, did Putin invade Tesla on the daily? Oh, boy. Let's see what Tesla's doing. Well, the problem is that I was going to say traditional markets is not trading right now, so it's going to be hard to give it a real analysis. Did Putin invade Tesla on the daily? It ain't looking good for Tesla on the daily, I would say, but I do suspect that that it does probably try for a bit of a rally from here. Then again, yeah, you're coming off the monthly. I believe we were looking for a move to $700 this month or into March. We've already gotten that. I'd probably look for this one to bounce into the end of the day here. I mean, thinking on the bright side, maybe the peace talks go well today. People de-escalate. That would be quite nice. And then you see this thing make a move up to about 880. But I don't really have a further analysis on it. We've kind of already hit the downside target that I would have thought was like an easy call. From here, I think I don't know. A healthy amount of I don't know is the proper answer on this one for myself. I know where I would turn bullish on this, or I wouldn't say bullish, but where I start to switch my opinion around would be about 950 to the upside. Until then, it's just lower highs the whole way through and lower lows as of right now. Personally speaking, though, does it play out a little bit more of an upside continuation to like 840 or 880? I do think that's rather likely, simply just looking at daily bullish divergence and rising volatility off the lows right there. So hopefully that was helpful on Tesla, sir. Anyways, B. Arthur's Dingus. Hello, Mr. or Miss Dingus. Good morning, sir. Can you talk about the impact of Russia cutoff from SWIFT might have on the price action? Well, I'm not qualified to speak on these. I don't fully understand the implications of it. I just know that it's rather severe. It's a big deal, and I don't know what I would expect on. I'm guessing you're asking about Bitcoin specifically. Well, so far not so good. I would say that, the obvious thing, but no, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'd imagine it's probably going to have short-term nasty consequences. Long-term, I can go two ways on this one. So there's one camp that says that that has the idea that financial sovereignty is going to become more and more important here, which I do agree with. We already see it with Ukraine, who is accepting donations in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Tether, and that seems to be the easiest way for them to kind of get and gather donations towards their cause. That obviously is going to be looked at as a generally good thing by the West, I suppose. But here's a situation where I think things would be absolutely devastating and would probably arrest any sort of cryptocurrency rally anytime soon. And that would be if, let's say, Russia and China and whatever the sort of enemies are thought of as of right now start to use Bitcoin to avoid these sanctions or some sort of cryptocurrency. Who, again, I'm coming up with the hypothetical situation here. I'm not saying that this is happening. I just see that this is a sentiment that is passed along as something that would be good for Bitcoin on especially Twitter. I think that would actually be terrible for Bitcoin because and all cryptocurrencies by extension, simply because if it was starting to be used by quote unquote the enemy, which is, I'm speaking from the perspective of someone in the West. I don't have any particular enemies. I mean, I'd prefer not to get invaded. So, if you look at it from that perspective, then I suppose I'm not necessarily enthusiastic about the neighbor to the east here. But to top that off, the problem is that if it were to be used in those sorts of situations, then you can imagine that the West, which certainly does control the majority of the monetary flows and supply, would just come up with, would actually have a justified reason to really start to crack down on cryptocurrency and make it very difficult for anyone really to get in and out of it. And I suspect that would not be good. So I think that people are kind of cheering that on. I even saw like someone who said they're just going to use Ripple now. It's like, man, if they use Ripple, they got bigger fucking problems than anything else, So it's very silly, in my opinion. But again, I'm not qualified to know like the full analysis of it. I just know that much would, like, in those particular situations, the response from it would unlikely be good. So yeah, anyways, we already did AVAX, so all good right there. But if you want to hit Elsa up with another one, then all good as well, and we can do that. No, I think that's completely wrong, actually, Pariah the Boneless. I would actually completely disagree. If Russia uses it now, then yes, absolutely. Like, it'd probably be like a, ban crypto sort of moment. But I don't think that would be used as an excuse. I mean, if you look at all of the things that are being built up, it's actually Russia and China who are mostly banning cryptocurrencies and trying to kind of outlaw them in a lot of ways. And it's the US and the West that is trying to build up like the infrastructure to essentially trade them and host them in the, in the market. So to me, that's a clear sign that they actually want that. I mean, they're not going to fucking waste their time with like, going through all the rigmarole of creating an ETF and listening on CME and all this good stuff. If it was destined to fail. Anyways, Mona Lisa says, love your videos and I've learned a lot. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Also, I loved your picture in the Louvre. Just wanted to ask, how much coffee have you drunk this morning? I usually drink 2 cups. 2 cups a day is a sweet spot for me. Not too much, not too little. Nacho Fiat says XRP 4 hour for the CCP. Yeah, that is so fucking funny to me. Like, the Ripplers, they can be convinced of anything, man. They can be convinced of fucking anything, that this is going to be used by the CCP or whatever the fuck. It's actually not a bad chart right here, to be fair. Like, compared to a lot of the other things that I've seen today. But I'd have the same sort of analysis that I do, as I do on Bitcoin, essentially. Yeah, it's a downtrend all the way through. Could you see a reversal if things do move back above about 79 cents? Yes, absolutely. And I would actually be looking for a big move to the upside to follow through in the following weeks after that. Probably even reclaiming back up to 120 to 125 in the month or two to come. But for right now, it's, on a quick move to the downside, I would be looking for a move down to the low 60s. And I would, I do essentially have to remain bearish on a chart that looks like this, but very quickly would I turn around to be bullish above about 79 cents in this case. It actually looked quite good, to be fair. Monthly is less than compelling. Somewhere between about 50 and 60 cents kind of where I'd be looking towards if things do dump off. I'm also curious to see what we look like over here. where is directional momentum at the current moment? Weekly is to the upside and very much angled to the upside above 58 cents. Daily is also to the upside above about 65 cents. So, do things have a chance here? Yeah, absolutely they do. So I'm refraining from calling any like major downside continuation as of right now. I want to see the monthly on Bitcoin. If that starts to really violate major areas, then I would feel quite confident saying that we're going to see this market tip on over in the following couple months. Anyways, let's see. I think hey, what's up, Toby One? Good morning to you, man. I'll get to that. I'll get to that in just a second. SK was first. Just want to say thanks for all the TA. I always tune into your lives. Thanks, man. I really appreciate those sentiments. I wish these were nicer and easier times, Ben, but I suppose maybe now in the future we can cherish those times, those easier times a lot more. Hey, what's up, Toby Mon? Good to see you, brother. Have we looked at Hex? No, we haven't looked at Hex. I can look at it for you, sir. Let's see what we got going on over here. Let's see how it's doing today. Not too hot today. I'd certainly put it in the bucket of weaker charts that we've seen today. But again, if Bitcoin moves to the upside, it is starting to play around with. It is starting to play directionally with Bitcoin as of late. So it's like, if you see Bitcoin above, I think it was 39,550, I'd probably be looking for Hex to put in a rally somewhere around about 17.5 to 18 cents or so. Problem with Hex here is that we do have downtrends on basically all time frames that matter for this up to a weekly, including a weekly. Actually, we do have a lower low right here. We already have lower highs. So I think this chart hilariously has been playing out incredibly well. I don't say that to toot my own horn, but I say that because whoever is operating this asset, they have a sense of humor. That's what they have, and it does play incredibly technically for an asset whose leader essentially poo-poos on analysis. I mean, this one is about as technical as it gets. Anyways, do I think that it's going to bounce from here or not is probably the real question that I suspect that you do have. Well, we're already making lower lows on RSI, so that's not a great sign. I don't think that. Well, we could go look at momentum over here. Daily will turn down below 12 cents. Weekly is down below 18 cents. So actually, a lot more. Most things in this market do actually have weekly upside momentum. For what it's worth, 5-day is atrocious. I mean, the question to me, Mr. Toby Wan, and I'd say this with full respect, man, is look, if we do see a move, let's say in the next 48 hours above about 16 cents, I would look for a rally first, somewhere around 18, maybe even 19 cents actually is, I do think is best case scenario to the upside, but I'm heavily bearish on this asset, as long as it's below that last weekly high, which is 28 cents. So, if it does get another rally into the upper teens, low 20s, just looking for another lower high. Long term, I say this with respect, ma'am. I do suspect that this one very likely does come below 10 cents over a long enough time period. I've been saying that for a long time now. I've been usually saying like later this year. I think this might actually be in the next couple months here, if anything. But yeah, I mean, this is just, this, I know this, we all know this. If we just remove the name of this, this is a parabolic blow off top. And to be fair, it actually has retraced, I think, about 80% already, almost 80% already. You kind of got your bull trap right here. The question is, are you going to hold the lows or not? Well, you know my opinion, man. Hopefully that was in some way helpful, man. I actually do think that you probably try a rally from here first for what it's worth. And that rally can very easily come up into the upper teens. I don't have any reason to change around my long-term opinion on this as long as you're below the last weekly lower high. So hopefully that was helpful, sir. Peter F says, .us, what? Oh, it's Sevak, Acopian? Where are you from, man? Where is that name from? That is a very difficult name to say. Sorry, man. I don't mean to give you shit, but it's just me. I'm an American, man. I'm not equipped to say anything that's exotic. Theta USD daily and weekly. Sure, man. Daily. Well, pretty fucking ugly. It's been a downtrend since April, and I have no reason to not be looking for a long-term continuation on something like this. Armenian. Oh, okay, Armenian. Nice. I know a lot of Armenian people. They're good people, actually. Anyways, here's the hopium, I suppose, is that you are on the weekly 200 basically already, so should be getting some pity bounces around here. I think that you've kind of already got one in late January. That was, let's actually see how much that was. That was a 100% move right there. I think that the pity bounce has been had. Here's what I can say as far as extending a pity bounce into a major rally actually would be any sort of a daily closure above your last sort of lower high here, which is at about 390 or so. I would say I'd be looking for big rallies up towards like $5.25 to $5.50 in the following weeks. Until then, certainly one of the weakest charts we've seen today, but look, in my experience, it's really unwise to be like short on a fucking 200 simple right there on a weekly nonetheless. So to me, it's like I need to see it actually break these lows first before I look for the next major move to the downside. And well, if we do see the next major move to the downside, I'm looking somewhere around $1.60, give or take 5 cents from that number. Sorry, $1.75, give or take 5 cents from that number. It would not look good, and this, to be fair, it does not look good. It's not great right there, man. But I do suspect that you're probably in alignment for one more bounce here. Again, it's easier to watch Bitcoin. Look, if Bitcoin gets back above 39,550, you're going to very likely see everything in this market rally up, probably a significant amount too. And in this one, I'd probably be looking for like $5 plus in the following weeks after that, if that were to happen. Anyways, hopefully that was helpful, man. Peter F says, .USD dildo wreckage analysis on the daily and weekly, please, sir. Sure. Polkadot. Polkaderp over here. Let's see what this one's doing. Looks very, no, definitely not as bad as all of the charts we've seen. It looks pretty much in alignment with Bitcoin's chart, actually. So I'd say about par for the course in terms of, in terms of strength here. Anyways, you're looking at a daily and a weekly. Okay, let's just see if that's a 5-day. Weekly and 5-day are pretty much the same thing right here. Rallies up to $20 to $20.50 to $21 are fair game. Let's say if Bitcoin gets above about 39,550. But I'm going to go with this one. We do have a daily downtrend. Obviously, that doesn't swing around at all until you see a daily closure above about 1830. Let's just call it 1840ish region. Make a nice round even number. We do see another drive of hidden bearish divergence about to form right here. It is a phantom drive on declining volatility, so I don't look at this as like a dastardly terrible signal, but I suppose the real question is, where would I call a major continuation to the downside? It's actually pretty damn simple on this one. 1584 or 1585 on a daily closure. I do look for this one to retrace its full wick from, I'm guessing, the 24th. Yeah, the 24th of Feb. And retest down around there, like low $14, and probably go for, probably have another short-term bounce there and then continue on down towards your macro range lows, which is in the mid to low $12 region. Until then, Hopium short term is above 1840, let's call it, with targets up towards $20.50 to $21. Weekly would look maybe okay after that point as well. I'd want to see it. It'd just be easy to watch Bitcoin, in my opinion, for whichever way that Bitcoin resolves it. But if I had to call it right now, I do think you're very likely to see, I wouldn't say very likely, but more likely to see a bounce here first. And then if it is going to eventually topple on over, I'd probably be looking for it to first rally up into the shallow $20 region. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for, what was this one? Dot. Yeah, there we go. Dot. What's up, Jaden Christ? ADA. Oh, God damn it. It's Derpio. We have Mr. Carderpio over here. Carderpio got into my Margaret attempt yesterday and destroyed it, man. I was one fucking measly hit away. And Cardano is doing exactly what you'd expect Carderpio to be doing, although it is putting in some signs of a short-term bottom right here, to be fair. I would say that this short-term bottom is confirmed on a daily closure. Okay, we only need one trend line for this. Above about 91 cents, 91.5 cents, let's say. Short-term targets up to about just shy of $1 would be initiated. And let's see, what about the weekly right here? Pretty fucking ugly. I mean, look, this is pretty fucking ugly, to be fair. I do think, look, it might have one more short-term rally here, but I do think over a long enough time period, you see this one come back down to $0.50, maybe lower, maybe later this year, something like that, if it's going to happen. The problem is that on the short-term upside moves, this one barely recovers, and on the downside moves, it overperforms compared to Bitcoin. So I look at that as relatively weak. Long-term, I can't be bullish on anything that looks like this as long as you're specifically below about 155 on a higher time frame closing basis. Short-term, you know my opinion right here, above about 91.5 cent on. Yeah, 91.5 cent on a daily. I do look for a rally first and then destruction likely later, but rallies up into the, shallow $1 region, could very easily happen from there. So again, another example where I'd probably look at Bitcoin as its ranges are a little bit more obvious in my opinion. And then Carderpio as, if If it plays out to the downside, it's likely going to get a lot more worse. But again, same thing as the last chart that we looked at. I do expect that you probably see a rally here first, if anything, and then if it's gonna topple on over, probably from like low $1 region or so. Hey, what's up, Tokyo Channel? Hope all is well with you as well, sir. Could you look at USD? Oh, sorry, I'm actually skipping a few people here. I apologize. We'll get back to that one in a second, man. But I just wanted to say, hey, Ben Stace says FTM daily and full hour. Sure. Okay, let's plop this one up over here. Phantom, holding up relatively well actually compared to most of the charts that we've seen today. Again, short-term range to the downside, 147 or so. I would validate this as a major low actually, with any sort of a daily back above about, what is this, 179? 180, with big targets up actually after that, probably into the mid $2 over time. But for what it's worth, this one is holding up relatively well compared to just about every other chart we've seen today. Yeah, I don't really have too much to add on to it other than that. What time frames were we looking at? Full hour, sorry. Let's go address what you're actually asking for. Full hour would have almost the same validation for upside continuation. I'd say any sort of a 4 hour closure above about 180.5 would do it for me, with targets up first towards almost $2, just shy of $2. And then I'd want to see the rest of the market after that coming into, I suppose, early March. Speaking of the monthly, not super confidence inducing right here, but again, I expect that if Bitcoin does put in a rally, this one probably performs rather well. Bitcoin falls down, it's probably going to be, you know, on par with it. What would I use in order to confirm a continuation move to the downside? Very likely retracing the 24th of February right here would be a daily closure below 147 and a half. Probably the same thing on a 4 hour. Yeah, same thing on a 4 hour, 147 closure below there, and I would look at that as a continuation move down to 24th of February lows, maybe even a little bit lower than that, and probably sets it up for another bounce somewhere between about 125 to 130 or so, and then come back to it after that. But you know, to give it its due diligence, it is certainly relatively strong here, but you know, I don't think it matters if you're relatively strong at Bitcoin or just all markets essentially come down. I mean, all markets are going to essentially work with each other today. In fact, just to check it out, we should probably go check out Now's futures to see where we're at. Not bad, actually, not bad on the bounce. You know, if Now's reclaims back above about 14,340 or so, that would look good for a rally, a big rally first before any sort of potential nastiness to the other side. But again, you know, I suspect that the peace talks later today are probably going to be, you know, Mark's probably going to run off of that. So do I know what's going to happen there? Fuck no, I don't. But I suspect that that's going to be like a big catalyst for a day like today. REMX says, your thoughts on Ethereum USD on the 4 hour and daily? Sure. Yeah. Is it? I got it right here. Let's actually record this one as well. Here we have Ethereum versus the DERPR, symbol ETH, and we're going to be looking at a 4 hour and daily, and just a general overview actually, because it is a rather popular one. So we have a pretty obvious setup going on right here, and the setup is essentially, you know, all time frames are in a downturn right here. However, there are some very specific areas to validate a nice major low in this case, with targets up, you know, probably into the deep 3000s, like 35 to 3800 in the later portion of, I imagine, March. Of course, again, this needs to be validated, which is quite far away, but I need to see a daily closure above no less than $3,000 on the shorter term time frames. I do actually think that the same regions would probably be relevant, but if you want to go by the book, then it'd be about 3130 short term. However, it is very, 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 very similar to Bitcoin in this case, a full hour closure above 2830, and I would actually be looking for a move around $3,000, and that obviously can bleed into the higher term timeframes. I do think, just like Bitcoin, that we probably see an attempt up first on the short-term timeframes, and then the question is, you know, is this, you know, does a 4 hour close above this region or not? Same thing as Bitcoin, above 39,550. If Bitcoin closes a 4 hour above there, I'm looking for a major continuation for that time frame. In this case, I mean, you know, it's a pretty big move, being that it is only 2830 to about 3,000 or so. And then if the daily closes above there, I'd be looking for a big, I'd actually be looking for a big rally into March. Until then, however, I should overlay downside continuation conditions because, well, time frames are pretty much all time frames are in downtrend right now, and that would be with a 4 hour closure below about 2,500. Daily, same thing as well. Any sort of a closure below there, and I would be looking for this one to retrace the 24th of February wick low, which is 2,300. Probably try for another bounce somewhere around that wick low, but I'd only be looking for that bounce to put another lower high. Higher term timeframes in this case, we should denote on the monthly. You know, you are still playing off the monthly 21 in this case, so I mean, you know, if it is going to break, probably doesn't happen today. It'd probably happen like in March or such. And, you know, if you do start to break your, you know, your macro range lows, in this case, that's going to be, you know, below your basically 2150 to 2100-ish region, I'd be looking for big moves down, man. I'd be looking for humongous moves down into the mid to low 1000s, actually. But for right now, I think, I think it's best to give it a chance in line with the rest of the market until we get those confirmations. Any sort of a weekly closure above about 3,100 to 3,000 would also do this. Would also declare this as a major local low to me as well, with targets up probably into the later portion of March, maybe April, into the deep 3,000. So that's kind of what's at stake this week. And I suspect that we do have clarity on that situation probably this week as well. But for right now, Bitcoin putting in a bit of a rally. And, I should also check out momentum on this chart. Let's see. Ethereum right here. Okay. See what the weekly looks like. Weekly stochastic momentum is popping to the upside for the first time in this region since July, which was off of the last major bear trap. All right, so that's I guess more on the good side. 2,500 for the BULAs. Daily remains with upside momentum as long as price action is above 24.12 on a daily closing basis. Also rather good. 4 hour is going to turn back up above 27.79, which is rather far away right now, but not a humongous concern for the short term just yet. Again, I think it's easier to watch Bitcoin, but that is what I'd say about Ethereum. Hopefully that was helpful. Nice one, man. Let's actually go back to Bitcoin here for a second. Let's just see what we're doing. Yeah, a little bit of a short-term rally here. Again, I do think that we try a short-term upside move first. Then question is, what happens at 39, or, do we see another rejection anywhere below 39,550? That would be not great. What's up, Angel for Truth? Ooh, it's a lady. Thanks for all y'all do. Non-moocher simp love. Hey, much love to you as well, Angel for Truth. A nice avatar there. Looks like you are into makeup just like Elsa. I think she does her makeup well. Is that how it goes? Well, she has a picture there. Elsa knows makeup. She always comments on girls. She's like, she has good makeup. Yeah, she says that you have good makeup. All right. It's settled. It's settled, Angel for Truth. Anyways, all the best to you. Tokyo Channel says, hope all is well. Could you look at, yes, dollar yen. This would be a good day to look at that. Be a good day to, we should also look at Dixie as well, man. Holy shit. How have I not looked at that yet? Dollar yen. I've been bullish on this thing for a long fucking time. I'll still be bullish on it. Looks like we actually almost have hit our, let's see. Yeah, we've hit all of our targets to the upside. Man, we looked at this last view, in October, November, maybe. I do suspect that you will see a continuation at some point to 117, maybe even as much as 118.5, but I would be looking for pullbacks within that region. All higher term timeframes are still bullish here. Quarterly as well. I know that you're on the very high term timeframes as well. If you're talking about medium term timeframes, weekly, do we pull back first? This actually looks to me like it's setting up for a continuation drive first. In fact, usually I would say that you have bearish divergence for me right here, which you do, but that won't be confirmed, Mr. Tokyo Channel, until we do see a move back below at minimum 114.5. Below there, I'd be looking for a retracement somewhere down around about 112.80 or so. And I'd just be looking for another major higher low right there if that were to happen. Until then, all higher term time frames still very much bullish on the buy monthlies actually closing today as well. Didn't even look at that on Bitcoin, but buy monthly probably has maybe one more try to the upside and then a bit of a pullback. So still think that you maybe get that move before a major pullback. None of the pullback. I'm just looking for higher lows, man. Let's look at Bitcoin on the bi-monthly. Not good. Okay, probably didn't want to look at this one. If you want to be bullish. But hey, guess where the 9 is? It's at 39,585, actually. 39,585. So Bitcoin does close the month back above there. That'd also be a decent signal, let's say. Decent signal. Cool. Let me take a sip of this water, man. I'm devilishly thirsty right now, actually. What is going on right there? Lucid Lorax, I'm from the forest, sir. Yes, Elsa is actually literally from the forest. I've been to her hometown. It's 5 people who live there and 1 road, and it's literally out in the middle of nowhere. It's literally in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of crazy. It's the forest. It's in the middle of the fucking forest. All right, Saeed, Mr. Abith says bank Nifty all time frame. Okay, literally every single one possible. That's gonna take a while. So I think maybe that means a slew of them. guess we can just look at this one. Monthly, probably setting up for a major pullback here into the end of the year. I do suspect somewhere down around about 32,600, maybe even as low as 3,500, 30,500. That is daily. Short term could it rally up to 37,450, maybe. I don't really have a strong opinion on that. Full hour. Yeah, if you do see even an hourly closure above about 36,750, I would actually be looking for a rally first back up to 37.7s to 37.8s region. From there, I do look at this one as actually, yeah, as most likely to come down into the end of the year. But do we get a rally back up first? I don't really have a strong opinion on that. I can tell you exactly where I'd switch around my opinion and be immediately bullish towards this one, very likely making new all-time highs before any sort of major pullback. And that'd be with a weekly above about 39,150. But until then, I do think that this one's more likely to trade sideways into March and then probably come down into the end of the year and try for a higher low somewhere around 3,100 or 31,000, I should say, actually. That'd be like long time away though, to be fair. Mr. Andrew G says, howdy, TRB on the daily and weekly. Okay, not familiar with this one. I'm guessing this is a stock. No, it's a fucking crypto, for the love of God. Okay. TRB versus the dollar, and apparently has some history here too, so it's been around for a while. It's not good history though. That's the problem with it. Short term, looking at 2250 as a short term continuation condition towards 24.5 or so, but I'm heavily bearish on something that looks like this as long as you're specifically below 2590 on a daily. Doesn't mean that you can't do it. It's just, if Bitcoin rallies from here and it does reclaim above 39,550, you're probably going to see this one do the same thing, and you're probably going to see a rally into March into the shallow or deep 30s, shallow 40s. So that'd be like 39 to 41 bucks or so. Until then, I do think that that's a bit of hopium, but hey, if Bitcoin does that, you're very likely going to see this thing do something similar as well. So short-term timeframes, I'd be looking for a continuation of trend, which means to the downside with any sort of a 4-hour closure, even below 1735. Would look really, 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 really ugly right there. But for right now, I think you give it a chance until we basically get U.S. Open later today, and by that point, I suspect that we'll see clarity on the situation, and at latest end of month, which is going to be 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight. So again, running off of kind of like a Bitcoin allegory right there. But hey, if Bitcoin moves to the upside, we're probably going to see everything else move to the upside as well. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Let's see, what does an hourly look like right here? It's a rejection! No! Just kidding. I wouldn't say that just yet. Hey, what's up, Crypto Surfer 808? Yo, Krown, aloha. Man, you are definitely in Hawaii, and that's a place that I really want to take Elsa, because it's a fucking magical place, man, truly. Just want to give a shout out from Kauai. You're in Kauai! Holy shit, man, you live in paradise. That's amazing. I appreciate that, man. Wow. That's thank you, man. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that you that you're enjoying the program. That's incredible, man. Thank you for that. That's very kind, and also just amazing, man. Man, you live in fucking paradise. That is awesome, man. My cousin actually was a dolphin trainer in Hawaii, but I think she left now. I think she went back to college or something. Anyways, I've only been there once. Yeah, I think just once, man, and I was too young to really appreciate it, I think, but I just remember it being really, really warm, like a tropical little paradise, and everyone was just happy there too, man. It's a good place to be. All right, and thank you for that, man. Truly do appreciate that. AK Makar says FTM or AVAX. We've done literally both of them, actually. Oh, the one below. Okay. Look at ALEPH. Oh God, what is this? ALEP, what is this thing, man? What the fuck is it? All right, man, I'm trusting you here. Okay, already off to a bad start on that hour. Oh my God. Well, it's not like I was expecting something that just goes straight to the downside. It doesn't do that actually, but it's pretty fucking bad here. I do think at best case scenario, Bitcoin rallies up and you see this thing maybe rally up to 40 cents or so. Long term, I'm looking for this thing to come down significantly. Probably a quarter or so, over a long enough timeline. What time frames were you on though? Well, over a long enough time frame, I do expect that does happen. The question is, do you rally here first? I mean, the hourly's pretty fucking, or not the hourly, but the daily's pretty, 4-hour daily. Well, the daily's wrecked and the 4 hours wrecked, but Again, I think best it does on like a full market rally would be somewhere around shallow 40 cents region, and then long term, I'm looking down on something like this. But this is just, it's not that bad. Like, it actually does hold its higher lows, but I suspect that your next weekly higher low probably comes in somewhere in like the mid to low 20s. 4-hour time frame, are we getting any signs of bounce here? Yeah, I think it bounces first. Short term, 36 cent, 36 and a quarter, certainly not out of the question. Even 38 and a half cent is not out of the question, but let's say Bitcoin rallies up. Again, I think best it does the upside is like mid to low 40s. Probably mid to low 40s, and then long-term continuation of the downside. I'm not a fan of any of the higher term timeframes here. Bi-weekly kind of I think says it all. Yeah, mid to low, somewhere around mid to low 40s. If we get a full market rally, then back down is kind of where I'd be looking towards. I don't really have any reason to invalidate long-term bearishness, specifically as long as you're below about $0.50 on a daily closing basis. Doesn't mean it can't happen. It's just, it's got a lot of work to do there, and you're about to see volatility contract again. Momentum also is going to be pointed to the upside, so you're probably very likely to bounce here, I suspect. But that bounce is likely to be a corrective bounce with continuation within the current context of the trend, which is to the downside. Cool. I think we've gotten everything for now. We're 1 hour, 15 minutes into this one. I'll actually stick around for a little bit, just reading some comments from the chat here, and then I'll... yeah, we did, Andrew. TRB. Yeah. Cool. I'll just stick around for a little bit of time. Yeah, we did check your channel as well. Marco Escobar says, hits the blunt. Well, in an infinite universe, everything that can happen should happen. That's exactly right. And perhaps we do even live in that as well. Surprised nobody's asked about Luna. It's been the best performing coin this week, says Graham. Let's see. Hopefully I'm saying your name properly as well. I haven't looked at Luna in a while here. No, we did look at it last week. So let's see where it's at. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, again, it is probably the best chart that we've seen today. It's the only one that's actually putting in a nice constructive rally. I do think that it probably pulls back at some point to mid $60 region, somewhere between about 62 to $65, and then tries another rally from there. Hidden bullish divergence on the weekly. Monthly is actually, like, this is actually quite good. I'm very impressed by this chart. This is certainly the best chart that we've seen today. Doesn't mean that it's not going to play at a pullback, but I do think around 64, somewhere around 65 to $62, kind of where I'd be looking for, and then very likely a higher low. And assuming the world doesn't fucking die off, Luna actually looking quite good, incredibly good, in fact. I'd only get bearish on this one below about $60 on a daily closure. Until then, definitely one of the best charts that we've seen today. Now, you could make the argument that this is going to be a major rejection right here, and then we do come down with the rest of the market. Definitely could do that, but I would not be of that opinion until it's back below $60. That would be my line in the sand. And after that, very likely looking at a move down somewhere below $50, between about 45 and $50 or so. Okay, let's see, what else do we have over here? Jewel update. What about the Jewel update? I'm pretty sure you have the Jewel money, or at least that name sounds familiar. So I'm guessing that you probably do. Like, what about it? The Jewel was my best investment ever. Damn, man, that's really awesome to hear. For some people it's great, for some people it's not so great. It depends on your trading style, obviously. But if you know how to use it and it fits within your sort of trading regimen, which you can use it in a lot of different ways. Personally speaking, I like to use it. I like to use it as like a volatility momentum play, because it kind of combines those two things. And then look at shifts in extreme areas. That's where I find the best sort of benefit for it, just personally. Clipper says on the daily, is there bullish divergence on the MACD for Bitcoin on the daily? I really don't care about bullish divergence or any divergence for MACD. I don't think that it works out all that well. This would be hidden bullish divergence, if anything, and yes, it is in there if we confirm a local low here, which will not happen until, guess where, 39,550. So yeah, technically would have it in comparison to this low over here, made lower lows on histogram, higher lows on price action, presumably, but again, it only confirms a higher low here above 39,550. Crypto services, can you do a daily on Vulcan Forge PWAR? Yeah, I mean, this one's like super popular, and I remember that there's like a right and wrong chart to go to here. So let's see on KuCoin. Okay, next vacation, come to Kauai. Man, that'd be super awesome, man. I'm gonna hold you to that actually, because that would be incredible. I know Elsa really wants to go there, as do I, man. It's a fucking long flight though. I'll tell you that, man. Yeah, another interesting chart here. Not as bad as many of the things that we've seen today. Again, if it does want to have a quick dump off, I'm only looking toward, well, not only, but I'm looking towards about low $9 region, 910 to 920 or so. Ultimately, however, I would declare this as a nice major local low with any sort of a daily closure above 1068, very specifically. And then at that point, I'm looking for targets up probably towards 12.5 or so in the following week or two. Weekly right here. Yeah, you said daily. But weekly, I would call this one incredibly bullish, above about 16 and a quarter. Obviously, it's not anytime soon, but that would be my criteria for that. 4 hour, I would even call it a major local low with a 4 hour closure above about 1090. This one actually not looking, especially on the short-term time frames, as bad as the rest of the market. So if Bitcoin does catch a bid here, you're probably going to see this thing perform relatively well. Very interesting chart, actually. Shit, I'm on the wrong one. I know. It's KuCoin right there. KuCoin. But again, we see volatility declining right here. Momentum oscillators are generally pointed towards the north side, so I do have to be a little bit more conservative on this. Again, I really want to see a daily closure above that region. At that point, I am looking for moves up somewhere around 12.5 to maybe even as much as 13.5. Come back to it after that. Anything above 16 and a quarter on a daily, and I would be very confident calling this like your macro low and big targets up after that. Obviously probably going to take time, but it sounds like you're a little bit more on the long-term schedule there. I got to swim with mating sea turtle, like you were watching the turtles fuck Hillary in Key Beach, Kauai. There were hundreds everywhere. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. Hey, what's up? What's up, Bear Nutrition? What about dolphins? Well, I mean, dolphins apparently have tried to I remember reading a story about this dolphin trainer who is really into dolphins, and she was letting the dolphins basically fuck her, which is really cool. Hey, mahalo to you as well, Mr. Crypto Surfer. Man, that's fucking awesome. That is fucking awesome though. I forget that people actually get to live there. Shit, man, maybe we should just live there. But Elsa needs to get we need to get her a green card or something. I wonder what it's like to live there. I bet I would assume it's quite nice, but I'm curious because it's always different to visit a place than to live there, right? Jacob Calabrese says, can we look at ZW1? I'm guessing this is this wheat futures? It is wheat futures, yeah. These are probably going to the moon, and they are going to the moon. It's going to the moon, sir. Yeah. So this one does obviously have fundamentals behind it, seeing as Ukraine and Russia produce the strong majority or a humongous portion of the world's wheat. So it's a good time to go keto because this one very likely does go higher over time. There will be pullbacks along the way, of course. I don't know what time frame you're going off of here, but long term I'm bullish on this one. This actually looks like a a breakout as of right now. In the next few months, I look for this one to go up towards, what is this, 1103, probably even at some point in the next year or two, reach up towards your 0708 highs. Actually, very interesting. So this one rallied in the 08 crash. Very interesting. I wonder why that was. Yeah, I mean, pretty fucking good here, man. I expect that this one rallies up big time into the end of the year. There will be ebbs and flows on the higher term time frames, but I expect that's probably what you're getting at. All right, Bitcoin, you can have a chance. You can have a little bit of a chance-ola right there. Hey, what's up, Gary Keegan? Good day, mate. Are you still confident that 23 to 25 is the lowest we go? I mean, there's no way to be 100% sure about that, but I'd say statistically it's relevant, and then more importantly, that would be a good base scenario, at least for myself. And that's a worst case scenario for myself. Thoughts on dipping under 20,000? I don't have a strong opinion on that because it depends how you define it, right? So I could very easily see in a March 2020-esque situation where you get a wick below there, but still close above the $23,000 mark, and kind of spend time around there. So I look at things on a closing basis when analyzing from that long. But for right now, again, until we get the monthly closure tonight, it's probably not going to be relevant, at least for the time being. Well, at least with Bitcoin currently. I mean, Bitcoin currently on the monthly, again, it would need to close, at least for me, below about 36,500 minimum. 36,000 even would be a lot more obvious in this case for me to look at this as, okay, we have too many confluences here that have produced that move in the past. So Until then, I think it's a possibility. That would be like my worst case scenario for right now. Doesn't mean that you can't get a wick below, similar to what you had back on over here in March 2020, right? You did get a wick below the 55. In fact, this was, let's see how big of a percentage move that was. Yeah, that was a pretty wild move, about 30% move right there. But did close above, and you kind of seen this on basically all these ones. You get a little bit of activity below, but usually a pretty damn good long-term area for what it's worth. And here's the big thing, Gary, is that, if Bitcoin were to go below that region, I suspect that at first you get a big bounce off this region anyways, so it wouldn't be like just straight nuked did it again to the downside like this. It'd probably be more like boom, then reject, and then big down, if that's going to happen. So I think that it would happen over a longer period of time, if it were going to happen. So there'd be a lot of things to analyze in between. So it's just not relevant to me right now. Greg Daniels says, Ricky Gould is first. He says, can we do VGF? God damn it, man. What's the world's about to die, and we're looking at shit coins over here. Voyager, pretty awful chart. Let's see. There's got to be a more long-running chart, though. Maybe CoinEx. Still pretty bad. Above... Look, again, if Bitcoin rallies here, and I do think that Bitcoin has a short-term rally. I mean, we're actually playing out the short-term rally right now, above about 175. I do look for this one to put in a rally first towards almost $2. But long-term, I can't be bullish on something that looks like this, man. I think best it does in a perfect environment where Bitcoin rallies up into the 40s would be about 235 to 240ish region. Long-term... I expect more of the same on an asset that typically just goes sideways and down. No time frames given on something like this. Short-term validation for upside continuation would be above a 176 on a 4-hour closure. Probably somewhere around about $1.95 to $2 after that, if it were to happen. Until then, I mean, everything's to the downside. It's not really wise for me to be looking at its own reversal here. So again, if Bitcoin does it, you're very likely to see this thing follow as well, but just not as strong. All right, Greg Daniel says, regarding your latest video on MACD monthly crossover, has there ever been a time when that didn't end up revisiting the 20 simple? What do you mean? I don't think, maybe I didn't do a good job of explaining it, but what do you mean revisiting? I mean, every time it's after it breaks it, it always has gotten back above the 20 simple. Yes, absolutely. It's revisited every fucking time, but that is the major portion of it, where you see the MACD monthly cross to the downside first, then once it closes below the 20 simple, that's when momentum really starts to become a little more violent, and the move actually happens to its its ultimate destination here. So I think that there's a misunderstanding somewhere here, because the 20 simple, obviously price action has always gone back above it. So perhaps I'm not understanding your question, or you're not understanding my explanation, but yes, every time it has been revisited. Is there a time where it's never not revisited? No, I mean, all bull markets have been Bitcoin monthly above the 20 simple. So 100% yes, but again, only 3 iterations there. All right, cool. Hey, all good. Yokamwab. sorry, man, butchering your name right there, but yeah, I'll upload a shorter video after the stream here. Hawaii has the most beautiful energy. Yeah, I mean, people there, they're operating on a different level. It's a different thing. It's a different thing. 420 Tim. Is Krown bullish or bearish short term? Well, you could always scroll back to the beginning of this video here, but I think Bitcoin's going to try a rally in the short term. I think that's what we're seeing right now. The question to me is, does a rally put another lower high below 39,550 or not? If it does, well, that's going to be a pretty good warning signal coming into the end of the day. But everything's going to take a backseat to the monthly closure here. Hello from High Low. What's up, Mr. CoinSimp53? Hey, you're a simp just like me, baby. We are waiting for confirmation for 420 Tim. Smoke a fatty and chill. There it is. Of course, everyone's free to do what they want, right? I'm just kind of sharing what I'm looking at coming into this monthly closure, which I do believe is a rather big one. Did you look at Solana? No, we didn't. I can just briefly look at it over here, and then I think it's time to shut off the stream for a bit. I'll probably be on Elden Ring later, so on my Twitch channel, but just gonna be talking about gaming there, I guess. and whatever situation arises. It's the same chart as basically all of them, man. You know, hard to call this one a local low until you're back above about 93.75. Above there, I do look for rallies up towards 110 to 113 or so. Again, just easier to watch Bitcoin. All trends are to the downside right now, though. So it's like, do I look for a rally up first? I mean, Bitcoin does look a little bit more like that, yes. So yeah, I don't really have too much to add on to that. This one's a little more weaker on its own, to be fair, and the monthly is problematic long term. So again, easier to watch Bitcoin in this case. I think the ranges here are a lot more obvious. Short term, I'm looking for this rally to extend a little bit more. Again, very specifically, the question is what happens, or does Bitcoin put another lower high below 39,550? If that happens, that's going to be a pretty big warning signal for me, and then the monthly will fully confirm it or not, depending upon it. Yeah, I think it's time to get some gaming. I'm gonna go eat some foods, and yeah, I think it's a good little start to the week. So I want to wish everyone well. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you on this nice Monday morning over here from Helsinki, Finland. A nice bright and sunny Helsinki, Finland, I should say. We'll be back tomorrow, probably with a recorded video, and then Wednesday we'll be back live. So I'm going to start to do maybe 3 days a week, and then on periods where the market's like really moving, then I'll do a live stream as well. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, maybe tomorrow we do another live stream, depending upon how things go today. But I do feel like the shorter videos are easier for me to kind of get my thoughts a little bit more well rounded out. Elsa's clapping her claws in the background, so do be scared of that. And yeah, we'll do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. All right, cool. Good to see everyone, and hopefully everyone's doing well. Mr. Sean Waller, Gabor, and Jack Assman, good morning to you, and well, I'll see you hopefully soon. Take care.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, XR, pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build it, try it, bend it, fork it, hype it, pump it, dump it, rinse, repeat, but quick relocate. Pause it, list it, send it, burn it, pump it, hack it, quick rename it.